And there's a bunch of people who aren't always going to be the ones who are going to do well on the writing assignments. And hopefully by the end of the semester, more of them are doing really well. But one of the things that I noticed when I started to do this, the first time I did was in a basic writing class, where I had a lot of international students. And I said, how can I get these folks who aren't in control of English language very well, and who are in my class because the university has told them that they don't write very well. So that's why they're in the class in the first place. They don't think of themselves as writers. How can I get them to go out and interact with the other folks in this institution, the folks from whom they've been othered, and try to get them to use their language and make decisions and speak through them? And it seemed like a documentary was a really cool way to go about doing that. Put microphones in their hands. And it also taught research. Because what does research need? It doesn't need assertions, it comes to assertions. It needs questions. And what do you do with a camera and a microphone and a person sitting in front of you? You ask questions. So you start your research project with questions. We're able to use that then as a springboard for all the kinds of things that we do later on.
Could you talk more about assessment? Because I noticed in your presentation, you stated there was 20, 20, 30, and 30. So a lot of the emphasis, in my mind, is on the process. But in the component of the 30% of the actual video, I've done a project similar as this with my first-year students, and in the component in their product, I did a collaborative assessment. I was wondering if you did something similar, or how you assess that portion.
Yeah, in a variety of classes, I do it in a lot of different ways, but usually, especially in first-year writing classes, and in these kinds of classes as well, I want us to all participate in assessing this, and I figure that as we're making these things, we're becoming experts in making them, and so we should be able to make decisions about what's good and what isn't good. And so usually what will often, especially in first-year classes, what we usually come up is those folks are very reluctant to take over assessing themselves. They don't trust each other. They trust the system. And so what we almost always come to is a thing where I get 50% of the assessment, they collectively get 50% of the assessment, nobody assesses their own thing, they assess each other, they put that in, they get an average of all of their assessments in mine. We collaboratively author the assessment rubric, what we're going to do. I have some examples of that in my book, but there's all kinds of ways you can do it. Those things are governed by your learning goals and not by the videos themselves. The videos themselves are going to, some of them are going to be awesome. Some of them are going to suck. And if they suck, and we've asked them to take a risk on something they've never done before, they should be punished because they learned so damn much making a bad video. But at the same time, we should all appreciate what is the nature of the, oh my God, that's so good version of it too. I usually call it the wow factor. It usually has 10 or 15% of the overall grade. That's usually what folks come up with. So there's the place that you go for your assessment is your learning goals. Yeah.
I hate to cut it off.
No.
But it's sort of like, how this pastor goes on, and everybody's wondering when the church supper is going to start. It's lunchtime. We encourage you all to have these conversations over lunch. This is an unconference. Persuade Bump to do some more of this in the afternoon. He's got a whole office full of cool stuff. Maybe you can shoot some videos. So thank you. Thank you, Bump. We'll be back here at 10 to 2. Thank you.